I already went through this to see which one I wanted to do, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously I needed 2 hands to pull these out and do whatever. So pretty much all I got to do, put this filler gauge down up in there and then fill to the spacing. So like I said, I already went through and did this. What's going on, grind schoolers? It's your boy Rob, and we back in the shop today. So today, what we're gonna do is we are going to attempt to assemble the short block for the LS. Now I don't have my oil pan or nothing like that, and this might be just a mock-up. I might only get to the mock-up portion. And so when you start to assemble your motor and all that kind of stuff, you gotta check all the clearances and things like that. That's why I say I'm gonna attempt to get to that point. So once my rings get here, they should be here today. Once my rings get here, I'll put them into the motor and I'll check my gaps in between the rings, make sure that they're in spec so that we're good there, no worries there. I'm gonna take my pistons and I'll show you guys in a second. I was able to finally clean them all up. They're really clean. There's still a little bit of carbon on them. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop them into some of that CRC cleaner or whatever. I have the degreaser bottle, but I'm gonna get the actual can and I'm gonna just soak them in there, and then I'll scrub off whatever carbon we have left. Shout out to my dad. He actually recommended that to me. That's what we did on, I think we did it on like a carburetor and some other parts for this small block. Obviously we went with a different carburetor. We went with an L-Brock, but you know, I think we did that to my Quadrojet carburetor at some point. Excuse me. And matter of fact, it wasn't on this car, it's on my Caprice we did that. But anyways, it is what it is. We're gonna try to get to the point where we can mock things up. I'm going to measure the clearances for my cam journal, make sure that's in spec and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna polish the crankshaft or cam journal, crank journal. I got these little tapes. I'll show you guys when everything comes in. But we got this little tape, and it measures the clearance once you crush the bearings and stuff down, and you torque the rods down. It measures the clearance, and I think it measures also the crank journals too once you crank everything down. So that's why I say the mock-up, because I'm going to have to assemble and then disassemble. And so I didn't do that last time on my 350 motor. And I mean, I guess you don't have to, but it's just an extra step just to be safe. You know what I mean? Trying to run horsepower stuff. I don't want stuff blowing up. I don't want to spin a bearing and nothing like that. I want everything to just be straight. Didn't do that on my 350. My 350's been 10 years now since it's been in here. So probably a little less than that, probably like 8-9 years, whatever, that has been in this car, and I've never had an issue. But I'm definitely gonna do it on my LS. So I'll probably try to get through all of that. Like I said, it's just gonna be a mock-up for mock-up purposes. I'm gonna polish my crank. It's a lot going on, man. It's a lot going on. But I'm gonna start rambling. Before we get to the video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you get a notification every single time we drop another video. The reason why I'm showing you guys this process is because, for one, I think it's fun. You know what I'm saying? I think it's fun. I think it would be dope. I think it would be dope to see, to show you guys what I've done. Like previously, obviously I didn't record the 350, but if you saw the beginning video, the video I dropped at the beginning of this year of the Elko and what I had to go through to get it to, you know what I'm saying, just being able to run, you'll see, you know what I'm saying? You'll get my drift. But anyways, we're starting bare block from the garage. I know a lot of people don't even mess with internals, but I'm gonna go ahead and mess with the internals. If it blows up, whatever, you know what I'm saying, we'll take it out and rebuild another one. It's all good. But anyways, let me go ahead and turn this camera around, show you guys where I'm at and what we have to do. And then once we get the bearings and everything in, hopefully they come in a timely manner. I mean, I'm not gonna be assembling everything today. I'm gonna get as much done as possible before then. But anyways, let me turn this camera out and I'll show y'all what's going down. All right, y'all. I kind of can't wait until all of this is assembled, because it's taking up a lot of space on my table, and I want to clean this table off so that it's like free for me to come and work on stuff. And this is kind of like my workbench, you know what I'm saying? I done turned this thing into my workbench. My wife was upset about it at first, because when I started painting the cars, this is what I use, you know what I'm saying? So you can see there's paint everywhere. And she was like, dang, you messed up my table, blah, blah, blah. It's all good, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, you can see my pistons. If you saw my video of, you know what I'm saying, me tearing down the LSMotor from scratch or whatever, you saw my pistons had a lot of carbon on them. Now all of that carbon's good. Like the whole entire face of the piston was all carbon. So what I've been doing is, obviously you guys have seen me use the oven cleaner, but I've been using the oven cleaner leaving it on about 3 to 5 minutes, coming, scraping with my plastic razor, getting all the gunk off of there. You can see a lot of carbon still on the table. I've been kind of trying to wipe the table down as I go, so it's not sitting in more carbon. I've been getting on the side as much as I possibly can. You can kind of see they're getting cleaned up. But what I'm gonna do is, my next step is, I'm gonna take all the piston rings out when I get my other rings in, and I'm going to set these in some of that CRC, I guess it's not CRC, gunk, like degreaser. So I'm gonna set it in overnight so I can get all of the rest of this carbon off of there, and anything on the sides and that I may have missed. We're gonna clean all those up, and whatever the gunk doesn't get, I've been using the oven cleaner. It's just gonna be what it is. You know what I'm saying? This is not a race motor. And like Dash said, it's an LSMotor. Just put this stuff in there and send it, basically. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we got going down there. We have to polish the crank. So I'm gonna take the crank out. After I put the pistons in the bucket of stuff, I'm gonna pull the crank over here and I'm gonna start polishing the crank, and I'll show you guys when I get to that step what that looks like. And then other than that, man, I just got to scrape the gasket surfaces with my plastic razor, make sure everything's all cleaned up, and we're ready to start, you know what I'm saying, bolting things back together. Like I said, I'll probably only get to the mock-up portion of this. And pretty much, like I said, it's not a final assembly. So I'm gonna do my mock-up. I'll come in, I'll put my piston rings inside of here. I'll measure the gap. And that's what's in this bag, is all the tools that it's gonna take me to build a motor. So I have my piston ring pliers. I got my gapping tool for the clearances for the oil rings. Like I said, that tape or that little goop that you put on the journals or the crankshaft to check the clearances of the bearings, that stuff is on its way. And I might also paint the valley too. I'm gonna paint the valley because it looks good out here. It looks terrible in there. So I'm gonna paint the valley, and then I'm gonna see how to get all this rust off the surfaces. If I can't get it, you know, perfect, it's all good. But that's what we're gonna do in this video, man. I know it's a lot, but stay tuned, and you know, let's go on for this ride. Let's get it. All right, y'all. I sprayed the whole motor down, like at least the surfaces, with WD-40, and I got a little bit of Brillo pad, you know what I'm saying, sponge action going here, just cut up, and you know what I'm saying, I'm just going, rubbing it across the surface, because you don't want nothing to scratch the surface, you feel me? So just going over it, and it seems to be working really, really well. So I'm gonna keep on scraping and cleaning and scraping and cleaning until this is to my liking, I should say. You know what I'm saying? To my liking, real nice and cleaned up, not really dirty. I'm not gonna get it perfect. Obviously, this ain't a machine shop, so it's all good. But I'm gonna get it as best I can, and then yeah, this part of the foundation is 100% complete, and then we could just start measuring and doing what we gotta do. All right, y'all. So that's with 2 rounds with the WD-40 and the Brillo pad thing. You can already see a major difference. Just in the cleanliness, like there's still like rusty spots there and down there and stuff like that, which is cool. I mean, all of this is gonna be covered up except for the outside parts, like right here, and the outside parts like back here, which I'll spray. Also right here and stuff. That won't be covered up, but that'll be like spray painted black. You know what I'm saying? Everything else will pretty much be covered up. But for the most part, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, you know, it looks a lot better than it did. I'm gonna probably spray some more WD-40 on it, let it soak, hit it with the Brillo pad one last time. And then after I do that, I'll probably get some of that CRC gasket remover stuff and get all this gasket stuff off of here. The razor blade's doing really well, but I think I could be more efficient if I just get the CRC stuff just to clean it up. But once this is done, this is prepped. I really don't even have to prep the top side. You know what I'm saying? Like, besides getting the gasket and stuff off, but you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I want this to be as close as possible to off the showroom floor looking. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna spray one last round of WD-40, just get it soaking right here, and I'll probably leave it alone for, you know what I'm saying, maybe a couple of hours. And then I'll go ahead and get the gasket makers or gasket cleaner stuff, clean up all the rest of these loose gaskets. Looks like whoever had it before probably did a decent job cleaning it. Not too much like caked on or nothing like that, but you know, we want to make sure we got a really great seal on the head gasket. I don't want no head gasket issues. So we'll go ahead and you know, clean it on up to the best of my ability, and then yeah, man, go from there. But that WD-40 kind of working wonders, yo. Like, I didn't know WD-40. I thought it was just for like squeaky, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, obviously lubricant for like rusty parts and stuff like that. But as far as like cleaning it, that stuff's actually working pretty decently. But anyways, man, and you could kind of see how like now it's starting to bring out the look of the cylinder walls, you know what I'm saying? You could tell those are really cleaned up, man. Those are really nice, ready to go. So we don't have no issues there. But I'm gonna let the WD soak for a little bit. I'm gonna come back, do one last final cleaning, and then I'll get the CRC stuff, clean that up, and then we'll start testing everything. We'll start putting the piston rings in there, testing the gaps and all that kind of stuff. And then I'll probably do a separate video on polishing the crank, or I'll just do a separate video of polishing the crank, but then show you guys what polishing the crank is, because I don't want to make this video super long. You know what I'm saying? I'll just split it up into two, so it'll be all solid. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and continue to keep moving, and yeah, get this thing looking pretty, even prettier than it does with the paint. So, you know what I'm saying? This is the foundation. We got to get it. All right, y'all. Resulted into using the metal blade because it just works so much better. I pretty much got all the gasket off. So there's really no gasket on there, as you can see. You know what I'm saying? It's real nice and smooth. I guess there's a little bit right there, but you know what I mean? It's real nice and smooth. It's just discolored, you know what I mean? Which it is what it is. But we should get a good seal from the head gasket. Like I said, I used the metal one because the plastic one wasn't doing the job that I needed. But you can kind of tell, you know what I'm saying, there's still gasket on this side. We're going to get all of that now. One side of the motor is clean. We still got to get these surfaces here for the water pump. After that, we are officially ready to start slapping stuff on here. Minus, you know what I'm saying, having to clean up the valley. Now that I use WD-40, I might not even care about the valley because I have to clean it, degrease it, do all that kind of stuff. And I got to do that anyway, just to get this painted. I don't really feel like doing that, so we'll leave it. And then the external surfaces like this that I missed, that I didn't even account for. We'll wait until we get the accessories on here. Probably not the top piece, but well, yeah, the top piece, the valley cover. We'll do that. Once we get the valley cover on here, the heads on here, we'll just tape it off, and then we'll spray the rest of that because I don't really want to tape the whole thing off again, just to spray these little areas. But anyways, I think we're looking good, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get the metal razor on this side, finish up the water pump stuff, and then we can jump over to polishing up the crankshaft. All right, yeah. So engine is all the way cleaned up, man. It looks so much better than it did. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to probably I'll probably spray it down with some brake clean. Go ahead and wipe it off, wipe it down. Obviously not these surfaces, but down in through here and down in through, you know what I'm saying, like where the areas that need it, you know what I'm saying, where all this debris is. I'll go ahead and brake clean it out, just get the WD-40 off of there, clean it all up, and then what we'll do is we will vacuum it out, and then we'll compress air anything that may be left over, like down in these little water jackets and stuff like that. I know I got debris down there. You can see debris in the piston, so we're gonna clean all of this stuff out, just so that there's no debris anywhere. Like I said, we're just going to brake clean the areas, like pretty much up top, because I don't want to get brake clean on the paint, the fresh paint and all that. So, but yeah, I think I did pretty good, man. Got these surfaces pretty flat, pretty smooth, where the water pump gaskets are gonna go. The head gasket surfaces are pretty clean, pretty smooth. If there's any other areas, I'll go ahead and scrape them off. I went ahead and got this other side too, so that looks real nice and clean. Yeah, man, we moving right along. So the block is pretty much prepped, ready to go. It's painted, cleaned up. Now what we're gonna do is we are going to, we're gonna actually put the pistons in some of that gunk, the greaser stuff. So I'm gonna go run to the store, get another bin of this, get like a smaller bin, probably about half this size. And I'm gonna put the pistons down there face up, and then dump that gunk stuff in there, let them soak overnight so it gets all that carbon and whatnot off of there. And then when I do that, I'll probably move those pistons like down to the floor right here where there's cardboard is, move that stuff out the way or something. And then I'll take this crank and I'll put it over here on the table, and then I'll use my WD-40. I might get some more brake clean, because I'm gonna get some more brake clean because I barely got some. I'm gonna use my WD-40, my brake clean, to keep stuff clean, and then some metal polish, and we're going to get the crank polished up. Shout out to a couple of my subscribers who recommended that I should polish the crank, and that's what I'm gonna do. So we'll get the crank polished up, and then like I said, I'm not gonna show you guys that process. I'll show the process in a different video. For now, I'll just show you guys what it looks like once I'm done. And then I'll go ahead and start mocking everything up. Like I said, once the piston rings get here, I'll put them in here, measure the spacing, make sure the spacing is good. And then we will throw the crank in after it's polished and do the mock up there as far as my spacing. But yeah, man, for the most part, we're moving along. This motor, the bottom end should hopefully be built this weekend. And, you know, we'll move on from there, go on to the next thing, which is probably trying to get my oil pan, and then whatever else comes after that. This motor will probably be built pretty quickly, but we'll see, man. I don't want to jinx myself, but we're going to keep on rocking how we rocking, just getting everything done. All right, y'all. So I got everything I need. I got the carburetor cleaner, parts cleaner. Got my brake clean. I got just a little bucket, you know what I'm saying? So I'm probably gonna do 4 and 4. So I'll put 4 of them in here because that's probably all I'll be able to fit. I'll put 4 pistons in here, and you know what I'm saying, it'll most likely be overnight, obviously. Clean those off, and then tomorrow morning I'll take those out, and then I'll put the other 2 in, and then leave them in for, you know what I'm saying, a better half of the day. I'll wake up probably early in the morning, go ahead and put the other ones in there, and then I should be able to clean off most of the rest of that carbon. Piston rings came in. Like I said, everything that I need, man, is in this bag that my dad got. You know what I'm saying? You can't really see what's in here, but there's, like, you know, assembly lube. There's this little thing to measure, like, the torque. It's a torque wrench, but it's not digital. You know what I'm saying? It's like analog or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I already got a little torque wrench, but this one is good for, like, you know what I'm saying, smaller weights. like very, very small, minute little weights or whatever, you know what I'm saying? There's other stuff in here. I think this is to, dang, I think this is for the springs on the piece of the tool for the springs, whatever. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this, you know what I'm saying? I'm just letting y'all know there's a bunch of stuff in here to build motors and stuff like that in that box. But I got my piston rings in. And then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these rings and I'm going to put them in the motor to see what my, my gapping is. And then this here is the plastic strips I was talking about. So for anybody talking about how I, you know, polish up the crank and stuff like that, I am going to test the spacing. So we should be good to go, man. Like I said, this is a garage build. I ain't no shop. I ain't no machine shop, nothing like that. We just gonna get it done. Like Dad say, it's a LS. So just send it. So let me go ahead and get these 4 pistons in there, and then get those soaking in, and I'll take these piston rings and stuff out of here because they're garbage. I'm not gonna use them. And then after that, I'll throw the crank on the table, and I'll start, you know, getting that all cleaned up. All right, y'all, so check this out. I have a new ring and I have an old ring. The darker gray one's the new one, the silver one or whatever is the older one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a ring in each one of these cylinders. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna square it off with my piston. So I'm gonna put the piston in upside down and push it down a little bit, and then I'll measure the gap. So I'll show you guys what I mean. Once I get the rings in here, I'll put the rings in here. I'll cut y'all back on, and I'll show you what I do with the piston, and I'll show you what I do when I measure the distance between the two. Theoretically, the stock one that came out of there should be good to go. And the ones that ordered should be in stock form. This is pretty much a stock motor. It's not bored over or nothing like that, so we should be good. But, you know what I'm saying, measure twice, cut once. You know what I'm saying? So let me go ahead and put these in here. And then after that, I'll go ahead and get the piston. All right, both rings are in there. You can see that one's in there, that one's in there. You can tell that one's not aligned. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the piston in here upside down. We're going to square it off. Get it kind of squared off. And there, almost. Let's go ahead and pop it in there. And then get this one like that. Pop it in there so that it's, like I said, the piston was flat. So we gotta, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard to do this with one hand, man. But there you have it. You see the gap. It's pretty good there. Gap is pretty good there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my filler gauge and I'm gonna measure the distance of that one and the distance of this one. They both look like they're almost pretty much the same, but I just want to be sure, man. Make sure that we're cold-fo on this. There's enough oil flowing through the rings, and we'll be good to go so that they're properly gapped and everything's all good. Like I said, these are stock rings, so it shouldn't be nothing different, but you know what I'm saying, just double checking, checking myself twice. So I'm gonna see if I can find a filler gauge in there, and then once I do, I will go ahead and check the distance between them and see where we're at. All right, y'all. So I got my filler gauge out. I already went through this to see which one I wanted to do, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously I needed 2 hands to pull these out and do whatever. So pretty much all I got to do, put this filler gauge down up in there and then fill to the spacing. So like I said, I already went through and did this. About 0.025 or 6.63 millimeters seems like it's accurate. I'm gonna look up the specs, but these piston rings that are in here now, they're the same size. So pretty much, like I said, measuring twice, cutting once type, you know what I'm saying? So these both are perfect, you know what I'm saying? And what I mean by perfect is they both, this is the new ring, this is the old ring. I got my filler gauge, they both, or this size works for both of them. Now, the caveat to this is I just got to figure out what the specs are for this motor to make sure that we're in spec. So I'm gonna go figure that out. Looks like the spacing is 0.025. I'm gonna make sure that's in spec. It should be, but we'll figure it out once I get everything together, and then we'll keep it moving, man. Right now I am polishing up the crank. I have my 1500 grit sandpaper. Now you can start with 800 grit, 800, 1000, 1500 in order to polish up the crank. I'm only using 1500 grit because I'm just going to, I mean, my journals aren't bad at all. You can see it's barely any, you know what I'm saying, stuff on it. I'm not too worried about like messing it up or anything like that because I got my trusty little dials that will tell me if I'm out of spec. So anybody that is worried about, you know what I'm saying, like the material being too much on one side or another, it doesn't even really matter, man. I'm not taking that much material off. It's just lightly going over it to clean it up. It's not a race motor. It'll be just fine. As long as, you know, I'm not spinning no bearings, I'm straight. But anyways, what I'm going to do is, I'll set you guys up in a second. I'm going to take the sandpaper. I already got this one cut for this journal here. I'm gonna take the sandpaper and I'm going to put it in, well, maybe I gotta cut off a little more. But I'm gonna put the sandpaper, wrap it around the journal. I'll show you guys what I mean. I'm gonna first clean it with brake clean with my napkins and all that. Clean it with brake clean. And then I will soak it with WD-40, soak the sandpaper with WD-40, wrap a piece of string or something around the sandpaper, and then, excuse me, I am going to work it back and forth until this is clean, so you don't see this line anymore. That's like an oil line or something like that. So we should be good. Nothing too special. It's real easy, supposedly. And yeah, that's how we're gonna rock, man. We're gonna go ahead and clean up this crankshaft. This will be cleaned up, and then I'll be able to get to assembling ASAP. So let's get to it, man. All right, so first things first, I'm gonna clean a couple of these journals with some brake clean. I'm not gonna go too far because, you know what I'm saying, like I'm gonna have to re-clean it up anyway. So I'm gonna clean it with brake clean first. I'm gonna wipe it down, and then we'll start the WD-40 process. All right, I got the WD-40 now. We'll go ahead and soak the journal, soak the paper up, and then we'll wrap it around, you know what I'm saying, like so. And then I have to get my my string, and then after I get my string, I'll set you guys up on the little tripod, and I'll show you guys what I'm about to do. So I'm gonna take my WD soaked sandpaper. I'm gonna wrap it around here. This is my first time doing this, by the way. You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm not trying to take the motor to the machine shop. They're weeks and weeks out, and they're gonna charge, you know, who knows how much, because pricing on everything done went sky high. But, you know, it is what it is, man. So we're gonna just lightly just take the string and we'll just move it back and forth, and we're gonna clean up our journals, man. Like I said, it just needs to be lightly. Too much pressure obviously makes it get stuck and whatnot. Like I said, I'm only using 1500 grit, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to use the 3000 or the 800, because my journals aren't that messed up. All right, y'all. So my plan is quickly starting to kind of fold in on me real quick. So I wanted to polish up the crank. I still have these couple of pistons I got to get the piston rings off of. And then I'm gonna dump it in the bucket. These are the last pistons that I have to do. They're not going to get ringed. I'm not gonna put the rings in. I'm gonna just clean them and have those ready to go. I've been really working on really cleaning these pistons really well. You know what I mean? If you see what they look like now compared to what they did look like, I'm spending a lot of time in this area. I'm obviously not, recording a lot of it because, I'm not going to keep showing y'all me cleaning these pistons. But this has been a lot of work. It's been a lot of work to get these to where they are now. And then the crankshaft, like I said, I'm going to polish it. And my plan was to get this into the motor. However, it's very cold out here. You know what I'm saying? And working with the pistons and the stuff dripping on my hands, man, I keep having to go in and out of the house, you know what I'm saying, just to warm up and come back out here to try to get this done. So the reason why I said my plan is folding real quick is because I don't think that I'm going to be able to get this crankshaft into the motor this weekend, because there's an Arctic freeze or something crazy. But it's going to be really cold in here, and I can't work with the chemicals when it's this cold. It's just not smart. So anyways, man, I'm going to push on and I'm going to go as far as I can. We will see. I'm going to push to see if I can get the crank in there, but I'm highly doubting it at this point, man. Anyways, I'm going to take these rings off of here. I'm going to put it in the bucket and then go in, let these sit for a minute, and I'm going to go in and warm up and then come back out here and try to clean these and then knock out this crank. That's my plan, but we're going to see if we make it, man. All right, y'all. So here's where we're at. We got the crank kind of cleaned up, man. I didn't do the main cap journals. I only did the connecting rod journals. Reason being is because I don't really feel like the crank really needed to be cleaned up that much, but I just wanted to kind of clean up some of these oil rings. They weren't even really that bad. There's really no scoring or nothing like that. And so pretty much what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna just polish them. Just use some of this metal polish or whatnot and just clean up the crank really good. After that, I'll probably put it back in a bag until I can get to the motor, because I didn't anticipate, well, got my pistons all cleaned up. Those are ready to get rings. Didn't anticipate all of this underneath the motor. So I definitely don't want to put my main caps on here and my main bearings. I don't want to put down in there. I want to clean this up. So I'm going to get some WD-40 and I also and spray down up in there. I also forgot that I have to clean the motor out too. So I don't want to put the crank in until the motor's cleaned up. Everything is prepped, ready to go, vacuumed out, sprayed out, all that's all good to go. I don't want to put the crank in here until that's done, because I don't want any debris or anything getting onto the oil of the crank and sticking to it and doing all that other crazy extra stuff. So I'm actually going to have to hold off on this. I forgot all about, getting everything all cleaned up, and I'm running out of time. So like I said, I'm going to just go ahead and throw some metal polish on here. I'm also not going to drop two videos. I'm going to just drop this video. I'll show you guys a little bit of the process that I was going through. At first, I was using the string, and it was like kind of kept binding. And then I started using the shoestring. The shoestring worked a lot better to get that sandpaper to slide back and forth. And I only used 1500 grit, so we'll be good to go. But anyways, man, I'm going to go ahead and spray some brake clean down the motor, wipe it down with some paper towel. And then afterwards, I'm going to rub the cream on there, polish it on up, and we'll be good to go. We'll put this back in the bag, and we'll clean everything up. All right, y'all. So there goes the crank. I actually opted not to polish it, just because, man, I didn't want to risk getting any polish in here, me not getting all the polish off and whatnot. So I think it looks good, man. Regardless of the situation, we running with it. Yeah, I mean, I don't really see a problem. I think everything's good as long as the bearing clearances are there. I feel like we'll be good to go, man. The foundation is set, y'all. One last thing to do, and that's clean the block and, yeah, keep it moving. So But the crank is cleaned up, the pistons are cleaned up, everything is solid. All right, y'all, I really wanted to give y'all an install video today. I'm not gonna lie, man. I wanted to get the pistons or not the pistons. I knew I probably wasn't gonna get the pistons because like I said, they were just so much work. But I thought that I was at least gonna be able to test fit the crank, you know what I'm saying? Test fit my clearances and whatnot. At least that's what I was trying to do. Now, if I had one more day, I would definitely be able to do that. It's going to be cold the next couple of days, next probably about 3 days. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm on hold until, you know, it decides to warm up a little bit again. But anyways, man, that motor, the bottom end of it, I didn't even think of it, man. That's oversight on my part. I had to clean that up, get everything all cleaned up, clean out the block, make sure everything is pretty much copacetic because now we are on to actually building the motor. Like I said, I got everything, the foundation laid, I have everything set. The only thing I have to do is clean the motor, get all that rusty, gunky stuff off of there, and then vacuum it and air compress it out and make sure it's nice and like ready to go. There's no debris inside of it. And then I can start building, you know, put my main cap bearings on there, and then putting the crank on there, and then putting my main caps on there, and then torquing all that stuff down, and then going ahead and installing the pistons. Got to put the rings on, obviously, of the pistons. That won't take too long. And then after that, man, the short block is built. So, I mean, you know, I'm not going to put a time frame on it because it depends on parts and, you know, when I order parts, when I get them in here, and when I decide to do it. But, I mean, to have a short block already built, man, that's kind of pretty crazy to me, at least, you know what I mean? I can't tell you how long it took me to build my first, like, long block in this car. So, anyways, man, I'm going to, the short block will probably be built within the next week. And then after that, we'll start going ahead and going to work on the heads because we are going to replace the springs. We are going to replace the, like, the retainers and all that kind of stuff. The valve stems or the valve seals or whatever they're called. We're going to replace those. We got to clean up the valves a little bit and pretty much go through the same process as cleaning up the crank, cleaning up the pistons. We got to clean up the heads too. So that will be the next step in this trajectory. And then after that, you know, we can go ahead and install the cam bearings, install the camshaft, and all the rest of the stuff that goes with it. And then we could go ahead and build the long block. So not too much longer, man. We just need that elbow grease. Take it one day at a time. But anyways, man, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I appreciate y'all's love and support and everything. Like I said, I was trying to get y'all to the install of at least the crank, but you know, it don't work like that all the time. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, like I said, appreciate y'all rocking with me. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell notification so you get a notification every single time we drop another video. Always remember, work hard so you can live free.